Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this special event hosted by the Blue Marble Librarians. And we invite you to greet each other in the chat. So please share in the chat your name, your library or organization, and something from or of the earth that has recently awed you, perhaps a sight, a sound, a smell, a taste, or a texture. So we thought that would be a fun icebreaker for us to share. So go ahead and let's have our greetings there. And I will share with you that mine is recently that the air quality has just been incredible this week. It's been so crisp and fresh. And I've finally been able to open my windows as it's been a little warmer and just enjoy that air quality. So that has been so nice. And I see Jillian's got her introduction in there. She saw an eastern bluebird in her backyard. Madeline, breakfast of fresh eggs from the farm up the road. Margaret, the butternut tree. And so keep getting those in there so we can get to know each other. And so this event is a collaborative effort of all of the Blue Marble Librarians. And thank you to all of the Blue Marble Librarians for their contributions in putting together the event, in publicizing the event, developing the icebreaker, planning the agenda, coordinating introductions and the breakout rooms. So, and a special thanks to Gabrielle Griffiths for being willing to share her special music with us. The two videos were composed and created by Gabrielle. So we have some talent in this group in many ways beyond librarianship as well. So we are very excited to have you with us today. And for your reference, we are going to post the agenda in the chat. So today we will have greetings and then updates from about 3 to 3:20 or so. You will learn a little bit about the history of the Blue Marble Librarians. Then we'll share with you how to get involved, and we'll have an update from the Blue Marble Librarians Vermont, and also a coordinator is here, Sarah from the NNLM, and she will fill you in on some funding opportunities related to sustainability and the environmental determinants of health. Following that, we'll have 20 minutes of small group discussions in a breakout rooms that are each facilitated by someone from the Blue Marble Librarians. And then after that, we'll come back and Corey Fahrenkopf is going to facilitate a wrap up and share back. And then if you loved this event, you can stay after it for another 20 or 30 minutes to hang out and just talk further and get to know the group and explore, further collaboration. So we are going to dive in with just a little bit about the history of the Blue Marble Librarians. So I am going to bring up our site on here. And so you might be wondering, who are the Blue Marble Librarians and how did this all get started? And what does it mean to be a Blue Marble Librarian? So the Blue Marble Librarians, our main purpose is to support the communities responding to extreme weathers efforts around Climate Prep Week and also climate resilience hubs. And we have a core working group of 12 librarians from public, academic, and school libraries. And so you can see the Blue Marble Librarians here on this website, people who have been involved from the beginning and some who have joined us in more recent years. A little bit of history. So in September of 2018, Chris Glass, a librarian at the Boston Public Library, hosted a program for Climate Prep Week. And he invited Madeline Charney, who's a librarian at the University of Massachusetts Amherst Libraries, to come and facilitate a discussion. And Madeline has been a pioneer in getting libraries all around the country involved with sustainability and community conversations about climate preparedness. So at that meeting, Chris and Madeline were approached by a volunteer engagement coordinator from communities responding to extreme weather about how they might work with libraries. And so Madeline and Chris convened a conversation with some people who they knew were also interested in this topic. One of them was me and some others. And we figured out, well, a great way to partner would be on Climate Preparedness Week. So in May of 2019, Madeline and Chris held a meeting at UMass Medical School, and many of us who are on this call today, CJ Wong, Ayula White, Heather Diaz, Gabrielle Griffiths, Catherine Carr, and Jessica Killam met together, and we talked about how to expand this partnership. And at that meeting, we playfully branded ourselves the Blue Marble Librarians. Some of you know the blue marble as the first image of the Earth from the Apollo satellite that created a real awe and reverence for the planet. And so the story behind this is I was teaching a civic engagement workshop for MLS that season. And at that workshop, I was encouraging people to think of Blue Marble librarianship. And I had heard of this term at another conference I went to about evaluation, the American Evaluators Association. And at that session, Michael Patton talked about Blue Marble evaluation. And I thought, that is so cool. We could totally have Blue Marble librarianship. And he gave out a little marble, a blue marble at those meetings. And so I did that at my classes. And at that session, I had blue marbles for everyone. And so that's where the name came from. And from there, it took off. And it's been a great name that has given us a lot of good energy working together and collaborating on this project. So I'm going to pass it over to Gabrielle.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here with you today. And so basically, after our 2019 sort of kickoff of our partnership with communities responding to extreme weather, we started collaborating with Crew, and in 2020, and actually January, I had the privilege of hosting a climate resilience series with Gideon Nachman, who used to be a fellow for Crew. And Gideon also collaborated with Sturgis Library with Corey, who's here on this, who's one of our Blue Marble librarians as well. And so we were doing really awesome, well-attended work. And then the pandemic started, and that was obviously very disorienting and hard for everybody. And so we started to think about in May of 2020, how are we going to do Climate Prep Week this year? Because libraries were unable to do in-person programs, at least indoors at that point. And we figured that libraries and librarians were going to, just not have any idea what was going to happen and be exhausted. So we decided that we were going to plan a virtual climate preparedness week where we had several keynote events that libraries could advertise to their patrons so that they had something that was, tangible and reliable to go to. And it was very well received and well attended. And our keynote speaker that year was Eric Kleinenberg, the author of Palaces for the People. And we had a theme, which is social resilience is climate resilience. So with those 5 keynote events and with Eric Kleinenberg's event, Crew also hosted a number of other events, and libraries were also welcome if they were able to host their own programs as well. And after Climate Preparedness Week in 2020, we started to expand and try to figure out how we could strengthen and improve our online platform, our web presence. And so we started to really work on the website that you're seeing on the screen right now. So if you haven't visited this, definitely take a look at the different tabs and the different resources that are available that give you some insight into not only projects that we've worked on, but also, book lists and other interviews and resources and things that we've been profiled in over the past couple of years. So we have a social media, and if you are interested in subscribing to it, we have an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook, and a YouTube. So definitely, follow us from your library account if you can, because we try to notify everybody about what we're doing, but also as one of the moderators for the social media account, I regularly try to highlight what other libraries are doing to give people an idea of, just things that other libraries are doing, trying to create solidarity among libraries and to feel sort of empowered to do their own programs, or maybe programs they hadn't, originally thought of. So, that being said, 2020, still in the pandemic, we sort of transitioned into 2021. We did an economics. It was the economics of sustainability. It was a digital 6-part series with Madhavi Venkatesan, who's a professor at Northeastern, and that is something you can watch on our YouTube. And again, we started to transition into preparing for Climate Preparedness Week again. And this past year in 2021, we had David Pogue, the author of How to Prepare for Climate Change. He did an amazing talk that was hosted by Michelle. And what we did this particular year was we had some pre-formatted questions for book discussions that libraries could do at their libraries, and they could tune into, the librarians could tune into this keynote event, and eventually it was opened also up to the public for them to be able to experience as well. But the book itself is really fantastic, and it's really tailored to how individuals themselves can hands-on, concrete prepare for climate change. And so the last thing I'll say is that in addition to Climate Preparedness Week 2020, 2021, we also started the Blue Marble Librarian blog, which was an idea that was created by Aola White and at one of our meetings, and we all sort of jumped on it. We're like, this sounds awesome. So we used the blog as a way to feature just the different library professionals and what they're doing in their libraries. As well as, to post things that we think may be relevant to other librarians. So you can see the last post that we had was by Renee Tanner, who is one of the editors of the most recent book from ALA Editions, which is Libraries and Sustainability, Programs and Practices for Community Impact. I had the privilege of being able to contribute a chapter to this book about repair events, which I'll be doing a breakout group. So if anybody wants to hop in on that and talk about repair events, you can join me later on in this program. But that's about that. And I'm going to pass it back, I believe, to Michelle.
Okay. So Gabrielle has done a phenomenal job with this guide and with the social media. So she is getting stories out there, spreading word about all the different sustainability programs she finds in Massachusetts. And it's just been great to just see all of the energy between all these programs and spreading word about them. So I wanted to show you a couple things on the guide. This started with a social media toolkit. So Gabrielle had the idea to put together some graphics that could be used for Climate Preparedness Week by libraries all across the state. And so we've had this for several years, different graphics that have been put together that you can use to promote your programs and all of the programs across the state. And then when the guide was put together, Gabrielle also put together some book lists. So we have recommended books for youth and also for adults on here. So you can check those out and share those with your community. And then there's also on here the maps these are from the Crew website. We just embedded them onto our site, and you can see all the previous programs that were hosted in the past couple of years. And if you click on the little book item, you can see what programs were offered. And then we have information about how to host your own program and some further ideas, and then general information about Climate Prep Week. So there's a lot on there for you to explore, and we highly recommend that you check it out further after this session. And so I forgot something. So sorry. I'm also supposed to mention the listserv. So we also have a listserv from MLS. So we had a lot of interest from members to be able to communicate with each other about sustainability. So the Massachusetts Library System has now a listserv that you can join. I know many of you are already on there, which is great. To sign up for the listserv, you just go to the MBLC site and you would click subscribe, and then you can be part of the listserv. And it's the opportunity to share stories, to ask questions, to have conversations around sustainabilities in libraries. So we've had some sharing on there. I'd love to see it be more active. Just, all regions, there's so many messages on there. So when you have your sustainability questions, climate preparedness questions, you can also use our Blue Marble listserv. And I'm gonna turn it back to Gabrielle.
So the last thing that we wanted to share with you was just the different presentations and talks that we have been invited to do over the past couple of years. And if you go to the Get Support tab on the Blue Marble Librarian website, you can scroll to the bottom as Michelle's doing, and you can see here just a number of examples of different newspaper articles and mini talks and media talks, television, where we have been invited to talk about the work that we are doing. And really, I would like to say that, thinking about and talking about libraries, we are really in such an interesting and perfect position to help our communities rethink and rethink, just the way that our culture does, I guess you could say, business, quite literally. But that just meaning of developing sustainable practices and developing a culture that's, people and environment centered first. So, in addition to having this extraordinary partnership with communities responding to extreme weather, we're constantly trying to figure out and create ways to, just help libraries become more sustainable and sharing those resources. And we are always looking for new collaborators. So we're really, really glad you're all here today. Oh, and I should say, I think I'm done.
Okay, Gabrielle, thank you so much. And now we will turn it over to CJ.
Hi, everyone. I'm CJ Wong, and I'm a Science and Engineering, Health Sciences, Environmental Studies, and Sustainability Librarian at Merrimack College in North Andover, Massachusetts. I'm also a PhD student in Natural Resources and Environment, University of New Hampshire, and I'm actually working on a citizen science project to study flying squirrels in New England. So at my breakout session, I'll be talking a little bit about that if you're interested in getting involved with citizen science and including my project. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some ways to get involved with the Blue Marble Librarians. Michelle and Gabrielle already mentioned the listserv, and I was going to say that we do have over 200 people on the listserv, so it is a great place to chat about environmental topics and programmings and things like that. And we'll give you a link, but it is on that the website, and I did give a link to the website earlier. We also have the blog, which they mentioned, and you are always welcome to contribute to the blog if that's something you're interested in. Gabrielle mentioned, there's book reviews, sustainability plans was one of the topics, the citizen science topic, programming ideas, maybe how to do a seed library, things like that. Anything environmental related would be great. So think about contributing to the blog, and we'll get it publicized and get it posted for you. So it's kind of a nice way to contribute. And you might want to sit in on a Blue Marble Librarians meeting and see what we're up to and how you can get involved. And I think really just thinking about what you're really passionate about and then seeing how you can go about creating change at your own library or your own campus. I think a lot of us who are part of this group, that's what we were already doing, and then we're continuing to do it. But now we have a community to do it in. If it's something you're thinking about, this maybe being here today will give you the nudge, and you'll see that there's a community and hopefully want to get more involved. You might want to think about your library becoming a climate resilience hub, which I won't go into all the details about that because others will be covering it. And I like to think about what I'm interested in, and then think about how I can make a difference in the community that I'm engaged with. So also who I can partner with. I've always found it can be good to partner with another group or campus, or on my campus, or for public libraries, another community group. I often partner with our student run green team, which I'm the advisor for. And then also we have an environmental center on my campus. So that's those are some really good partners for me to be working with. But maybe you want to start a seed library or plan a program around your campus garden. So potential partners could be like a local garden club or your campus garden committee, or maybe you want to do an environmental movie night. So in that case, maybe partnering with faculty, or for public libraries, local environmental groups, something like that. You may want to host a climate change cafe using the World Cafe method. And there's actually a really great toolkit online where you can learn how to host a World Cafe, and that's at theworldcafe.com. And it's actually a particular way to host a conversation, and it works really well. And a lot of us in this group have used this. Madeline introduced us to it, a lot of us, I think. And definitely check it out if you want to host a conversation around climate change or any environmental issue. Really, it's a great way to host a conversation. And another idea is just like having an art exhibit. There's a local artist that I know of. We hosted her at our library, and she does environmental art and endangered species art, and in Massachusetts, endangered species of Massachusetts in her art. And then she was able to give a talk, and it was just like awesome to have her art up in our library for a month, and people were inspired by her paintings. You might want to have a reading group, book group. I know they're listed on our website, some of the books, but here's a couple here. All We Can Save and Braiding Sweetgrass. That would be some good reading group material there. If you're interested in citizen science, you might want to consider like being part of a citizen science project, or making it like a community event that you do around a citizen science project. You might partner again with a garden club, or maybe a K through 12 school. One of the breakouts is again on the citizen science project. So we can talk about different citizen science projects at that point, and how to get involved with the Flying Squirrel project if anyone's interested in that. And they're just, I just think like there's so many things you can do. In a bit, when we get to those breakout groups, you can pick an area you'd like to learn more about. And, maybe you want to figure out how to become a climate resilience hub, or how to host a repair clinic. So you can figure out which one you want to find more information about. And I always say, follow your heart, follow your passions. We're all really excited that you're here today and you're ready to make a difference in this world. We have a Google form we'd like to have you fill out about how to get more involved, and we can gauge interest about what topics people are interested in, and where to focus our energies on a little more based on what people are interested in. So we will post a link for that here in a minute. And next up is, thank you for your attention, and I want to pass it over to Margaret for Blue Marble Librarians Vermont. Yay, Margaret.
Hi, thanks everybody. Thanks so much for letting me join you today from Vermont. I haven't had a chance to see if there's other folks from Vermont on the call, but I know that I have been so interested in what you all are doing and inspired by your Blue Marble efforts. So it's a great inspiration, as I said, to some of us in Vermont that would like to try and do something similar. I sort of got started in the whole sustainable libraries world, thanks to Madeline Charney, with my introduction to the Sustainability Roundtable at the American Library Association. And upon meeting some folks there, realized that this idea resonated with me personally and professionally, and that there were other people who felt the same way. As you said, CJ, follow your heart. So when I was president of the Vermont Library Association in 2016, we implemented a sustainability resolution, which was great, but that was about all we did. And it was sort of one of those things that kind of always stuck at the back of my head, that we needed, this was nice that we had this out there, but we hadn't done anything more. So it stayed that way for a while until a number of things came together. The George Floyd tragedy, the COVID, I think, gave us all time to sort of think, at least me and some of my colleagues here in Vermont, that we needed to take some action on a number of levels, and that we might have a path to move forward. I was fortunate enough to do some of the social alchemy work that Madeline had introduced me to, and met a couple other Vermonters who were interested in creating some kind of sustainability cohort here in Vermont. And this kind of fed on things I'd already done at my library, and I found out that others were doing at their libraries, but it seemed like, wouldn't it be great, which I think you all have done so beautifully here, to kind of bring that information together. So, we have a wonderful seed library here at our library, and we've just become part of a local stormwater mitigation project because we put in a new rain garden. And what I'm excited about is sharing that information with others and learning about what they're doing that we might adapt here. Gabrielle, you mentioned repair cafes, and we've done that here too, but how do you make that, which it seems like you're doing, something that people realize is possible for them to do, you know, at whatever level their library could maintain. So we were fortunate enough to become part of CREW, and we are now a climate resilience hub, which you can learn more about in one of the breakout rooms. But that has led to some great cooperation here at a local level with our emergency management team. And again, that's another piece that I think could be brought to a larger stage, so to speak, such as the Blue Marbles group. So thanks to some funding from the Vermont Community Foundation, we now have the means to put together a sustainable libraries working group here in Vermont, which will be, we hope, the Blue Marble Librarians Vermont. This will include working towards certification through the Sustainable Libraries Initiative that originally was part of the New York Library Association, but has recently sort of expanded its borders, if you will, and is looking to include libraries outside of New York. So we will be working with them. There'll be 8 of us in a cohort to begin with, working towards our certification, and also some education around all the other pieces, including, you know, earth honoring, social justice, and sort of trying to come to some understanding of what a sustainable library is and how that can, you know, lead to a more resilient community. So I feel like I've talked a lot, and I will now pass it along to Sarah Levin-Letterer, who is the Outreach and Education Coordinator at the National Network of Libraries of Medicine, of which I'm a big fan. So I'm glad to see you.
Hi all, thank you for that introduction. I wanted to real quick introduce us for those of you who are not connected to NNLM Region 7. We are the outreach arm of the National Library of Medicine. So if you've ever used Medline Plus or PubMed or any other number of online health resources, those are all created and maintained by the National Library of Medicine. And then regionally, we are here to help support libraries, public health, K-12, higher ed, pretty much anybody who may have an interest in health information and health literacy work. We also have an interest in climate change, environmental health as a health determinant. And so that's why we are here hoping to connect with you and also then be a resource for you. So part of that is we do have funding. Our funding is currently open. Unfortunately, it closes next Wednesday, March 1st. So that might be a little bit of a quick turnaround if people are interested, but it's for one-year projects. The Health Information Outreach Award is capped at $20,000. So these really are sort of smaller projects. But so that's the first thing. The other thing is that we do have 3 anticipated priority areas that may be of interest to folks here. They are bridging the digital divide, environmental determinants of health, and then confronting health misinformation. And so we kind of know that sometimes those things go together as well. So any of those things, like I said, unfortunately, our funding is closing in a week, so that may be too quick of a turnaround, but there are other things that we might be able to connect on. We do webinars for folks both in our region as well as for partners across the network, so nationally. So if there's something that we might want to share out to a larger audience, we might be able to help facilitate that. Somebody mentioned citizen science. There is an interest in that, and so might be able to connect around that. There's an NNLM reading club, so we might be able to help connect around that and either support the resources that are already available through Blue Marble, or potentially bring the resources that you've already curated to a larger audience. So there are a couple of different things that we might be able to think about, funding or no funding. I'll also put my email address in the chat if anybody wants to reach out, if there are any ideas or anything like that.
Sarah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just...
And Michelle, our funding is listed in a strange place. I should have sent you the link first.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's on the UMass Chan website instead of on the NNLM website. So
okay, if you may put that in the chat, that'd be great.
yeah, so it's in the chat now, and I'll put my email and my contact in the chat.
Okay. Okay, so let's see, just a second here. Okay, so we are going to move into breakout rooms now and have some small group discussions. And we have a total of about 20 minutes. And you can select from the following topics: citizen science, climate prep week, climate resilience hubs, repair clinics, and forming a library sustainability group, which will be hosted by the Blue Marble Librarians, Blue Marble Librarians Vermont. You can also hop room to room if you like, but please stay in a room at least 5 minutes as a courtesy before you hop to another room. I'll be staying in the main room if you need any support, hopping room to room or getting into a room. And each room has a facilitator, and the facilitator will invite someone to serve as a scribe, jotting down notes and anything interesting that's shared, and we'll post some Google Docs in the chat shortly for you to do that. And following the chats, we'll have a brief report back facilitated by Corey Fahrenkopf, who's from the Eastham Public Library and a Blue Marble Librarian. So I am going to open up the breakout rooms, and you can move right into those shortly. Let me just make sure I have the timing set right on here. Okay, cool. Okay, hopefully you are seeing the option to hop into a breakout room. And if you need any help, let me know. And I'm stopping the recording.